It's rare that I feel the need to interrupt your regularly scheduled videos in order to respond to events, but Star Citizen have landed themselves in hot water with many backers this week with a controversial roadmap update. I choose my words carefully here because there are strong feelings on either side of what is quickly becoming a heated community response. So, sit back, grab an NPC-made coffee, and we'll explore what's happened and why many people feel so strongly about it. I'm Forrester, and I regularly share Star Citizen videos on my YouTube channel, so if this kind of video sounds like something you'd like to see more of, you might like to press that subscribe button so you know when new videos go live and can join in. So, what has happened? Well, as part of being transparent about the development of the game, the Star Citizen website has a section called the Roadmap. That includes two tabs, the first being a progress tracker and the second being a release view. The progress tracker is very detailed, but also very complicated, with a long list of different teams, work streams and deliverables, and honestly can be pretty hard to follow. The release view, on the other hand, is what most players use to see what might or might not drop into future patches, either tentatively or as a confirmed feature. As part of the Roadmap Roundup update on February the 2nd, two things happened that have proved controversial. Firstly, a huge number of features tentatively slated for the next Star Citizen release, 3.17, have been temporarily removed from the roadmap. So that's FPS radar and scanning, hacking, EVA Tier 2, Zero-G push and pull, persistent hangars, the Hangar Manager app, the MISC Hull C, NPC Taxi Mission Tier 0 and improvements to Arena Commander. That sounds like a lot of features that players were expecting, but those expectations can be subverted with a surprise new feature coming online in patch 3.17, an AI coffee shop vendor in Area 18 who will serve players with a variety of drinks. Understandably, this has resulted in a number of memes, with many players assuming that development on key parts of the game has stalled in favour of a gimmick that doesn't add anything meaningful to the game. The second controversial part of the update was that basically because lots of backers complained about the slow progress or delays to ships or gameplay loops that previously featured in cards as tentatively scheduled for a patch, in future the roadmap will show only confirmed features. So you don't get to see on the roadmap section what the team is actively working towards for each patch, only what's absolutely confirmed to be in there, which is presumably what is almost finished. And the roadmap will also only show 1 quarter ahead or 1 patch ahead. In the explanation post behind it, CIG have explained that's because you and I can't be trusted with knowing what they're working on in case it can't be delivered, and we'll all end up disappointed and angry. So better not to tell us anything until we know for sure what's happening. Understandably, the reaction amongst some people has been a little sour. In part, it's due to a lot of new gameplay loops or features being pushed back, with many players feeling that the current 3.16 patch was a little light on features, and those same people feeling like 3.17 is now more of the same. Honestly, it may have been better not to even tell anybody about the NPC coffee shop vendor, and just throw it into the game and see who noticed, because the meme army has seized upon it as an absolute piece of folly, set against the absolute disappointment of the redacted features. Which is a real shame. Increased immersion is eventually something to be celebrated in the game, and this kind of feature will eventually help to bring the Star Citizen universe to life. Clearly, somebody has worked hard to make the NPC behaviours happen, and the reaction to their work is likely to be lukewarm at best. But critically, the addition of this one feature, set against the backdrop of the delay of many more, gives the perception that instead of working on features that people want, instead the developers are working on features that add very little to the game. Granted, game development is much more complicated than that, and very different teams work on different elements, but that perception is one that will stick with many players. Personally, the rationale behind the changes to what's coming next patch makes sense. One team is being retasked to focus on bringing those features to the Squadron 42 single-player experience, and another couple have dependencies on back-end technology which isn't ready yet, and a few more aren't at the required level of quality to go live. They're all reasons that could be challenged, but equally they are honest reasons for delaying features. What makes me nervous is the change in transparency by reducing the accessibility of the roadmap. Star Citizen, as a predominantly crowd-funded game, has always prided itself on the transparency of development, sharing and celebrating progress, but also being honest about the challenges and setbacks. They often have weekly inside Star Citizen updates, and other YouTube channels exist that almost exclusively provide updates on what the team have been working on. The rationale behind this change is to manage disappointment when things that players were expecting to happen don't happen, and to replace that disappointment with very little knowledge of what to expect. To cloud the progress of game development instead, so players can't be disappointed. I personally find that very disappointing, as it takes away a lot of things that players are looking forward to and simply replaces them with soon. To me, the message that sends out is that we can't be trusted to know what the team are working on because we can't fully understand when things don't go according to plan. Naturally, many players will point to the fact that the progress tracker part of the roadmap still contains an awful lot of detail about what the different teams are working on, which is completely fair. But equally, it's not easy to follow, nor does it give a view for when things are likely to be completed. So currently, Spectrum, Reddit, pretty much anywhere you can think of are full of discussion amongst the community with very different feelings about all of this. On the one hand, people pointing to the continued delays and now obfuscation of development progress, and on the other hand, people pointing to the fact that this is all part of a regular game development cycle. What do you think though? Have CIG misjudged the response to this one? Or do we all get too hung up on dates? I'm very intrigued to find out your thoughts in the comments. As ever, if you enjoyed this video or found it thought-provoking, please do press that like button. It's really helpful to me to work out what you're enjoying watching the most, so I can tailor future videos towards what you want to see. If you're disappointed with my work, I'd rather hear about it and address it rather than not. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed, and as ever, thank you for watching.